Oliver Dudik van Heel, you are working for the Lewis Pound. What is the Lewis Pound?
The Lewis Pound is a local currency, so it's effectively a way to support local traders, reduce the carbon footprint of the community and bring community cohesion through the simple means of notes that can only be used with local traders.
A little bit like IOUs?
In a way like IOUs, except they look a lot nicer than IOUs. This is a Lewis Pound, a £21 note. This is a £1 note.
And it's exactly the same value as the English pound, right?
It is the same value as sterling, but it can only be accepted with local traders.
Yeah. And who prints those?
They're printed by a local printer, a local secure printer.
And it's owned by?
The community, really. There's no ownership to it. It's a not-for-profit community initiative.
And how do I get my pounds back? And how much? I don't understand. How does that work? Why does this? Why if I start printing my own money in my own little village, does that make sense after we've gone through the euro experience?
Well, the simple reason is that we have an economy that's very much focused on the global issues. As a result of that, there is a tendency to look at the global market as the only market. What that does is it means that we are becoming hugely inefficient in terms of transportation of goods, and we're shipping goods across the world, whether they're food or other types of goods, and we're shipping them in an environment where in the long term we will run out of oil to make it work, and without oil we can't eat. It's that simple.
I completely understand, but what does local currency have to do with this global gigantic problem?
What a local currency does is it focuses people's mind first of all on the local. Okay, so it gives people a sense of why you're doing this, and you start a conversation about it. That's the first step. The second step is then to say, because they're only to be used by local traders, supermarkets don't take them. So you've got to support your local traders if you're using your Lewis pounds. That then creates virtuous circles where local traders start spending money with local suppliers, etc., etc. Now, in the long term, you could well imagine that you could decouple it from sterling. So literally, let's say we produce our own energy in Lewis, which is one of the things we'd like to do in 15, 20 years' time, be completely energy sufficient. We know energy is something everyone needs. It could become a great backing for a local currency. So instead of having the local currency pegged to sterling, which is very much dependent on global market fluctuations and in a way the victim of that market, you can actually start pegging it to local energy production, which is a local good that people will need and that is independent of global markets.
So, interesting concept. How many of those pounds are out there in that village?
Well, it's more than a village, it's a town, 16,000 people.
16,000 people is a village, but okay, it's a town. But how many of those pounds are out there?
There are, in early September the count was 45,000 were in circulation.
Okay, so it's also a very small percentage of the total money which goes around.
Absolutely. If you count it, it's probably about £3 per inhabitant of the population. In its early days, we've been going for a year. The idea, and this is within the context of something called transition towns, which is about building resilience to future challenges, the idea is that over the next 15, 20 years, this is all part of a shift towards low carbon lifestyles, toward less oil dependency. So it's not something that has to happen overnight.
How many of those villages are there? In the States there's also these people who do this?
There are, you're talking local currencies?
Yeah.
There's
about 1,000 of them, 1,000 local currencies
it depends how you define local currencies, but there are just under 5,000 local currencies in existence.
But this is not an individual thing, it's not only happening in that town.
I would say it's a movement.
Okay, it's a movement. Make your own currency to promote local thinking and acting. Thank you.